We're back. Before the break, Dr. Julian, you mentioned a 10-second test. I think everyone listening is probably standing up right now, or at least bracing themselves. What is this litmus test for muscle decay?
It's remarkably simple, Emma. It's called the timed sit to stand. Find a standard dining chair, no armrests if possible. Cross your arms over your chest. Now, try to stand up and sit back down 5 times as fast as you can. If it takes you longer than 10 or 12 seconds, or if you find yourself needing to swing your body to get momentum, you are already in the danger zone. You have lost significant fast twitch muscle fibers.
I just tried it mentally, and I can already feel people realizing they aren't as strong as they thought. But doctor, I see people in my neighborhood in their 60s and 70s walking every single morning. They look fit. They're getting their 10,000 steps. Surely they aren't suffering from the sitting death.
This is the great longevity myth. Walking is wonderful for your heart and your mental health, but it does almost nothing to stop sarcopenia. Walking is a low-intensity, steady-state activity. It uses your muscles, yes, but it doesn't challenge them. To keep muscle as you age, you have to create micro-insults to the tissue. You have to tell the body, this is heavy, I need more strength to survive. Walking 10,000 steps is like idling your car engine. It keeps things lubricated, but it won't rebuild a failing transmission.
So people are walking themselves right into a muscle loss crisis because they think they've checked the exercise box. That's a hard pill to swallow.
It is, and the consequences are visible in every hospital ward in Europe and America. When a person with low muscle mass falls, they don't just get a bruise, they break a hip. And for a 75-year-old, a hip fracture has a 1-year mortality rate of nearly 30%. That chair in your living room leads to the fall, and the fall leads to the end. It's a domino effect.
Let's talk about the biological rot again. You mentioned that muscle talks to our blood sugar. How does sitting still for too long actually lead to something like diabetes?
Think of your muscles as a giant sponge for glucose or blood sugar. When you eat, your blood sugar rises. In a healthy, active body, the muscles soak up about 80% of that sugar to use as fuel. But when you are sedentary and your muscles are shrinking and being replaced by fat, that sponge becomes small and dried out. The sugar has nowhere to go. It stays in your bloodstream, damaging your arteries, inflaming your heart, and eventually leading to insulin resistance.
So the sitting death isn't just about being weak. It's about turning your blood into a toxic soup because your muscles aren't there to clean it up.
Precisely. It's a systemic collapse. But the food we eat is also playing a massive role here. In fact, many seniors are unknowingly starving their muscles while eating 3 meals a day.
That sounds impossible. How can you be starving your muscles if you're eating enough calories? We're going to dive into the protein paradox and why your morning toast might be the silent accomplice to your muscle loss right after this. Dr. Julian, before the break, you said something provocative. You said many older adults are starving their muscles even while eating full meals. At a time when we're told to eat less to stay lean, you're saying we might not be eating enough of the right things.
It's a phenomenon called anabolic resistance. When you are 20 years old, your body is in a growth state. You can eat a small piece of chicken, and your body efficiently turns those amino acids into new muscle. But as we cross the threshold of 50 and 60, the machinery becomes less sensitive. You need a much higher dose of protein to trigger the same muscle-building signal.
So the standard breakfast, a piece of toast, maybe some fruit, and a cup of tea, is that enough?
For a senior, absolutely not. That breakfast is a disaster for muscle maintenance. It's almost entirely carbohydrates. When you eat that, your insulin spikes, but there's zero protein to repair the muscle decay from the night before. Most seniors in the West backload their protein, eating a tiny bit at lunch and then a large steak at dinner. But your body can only process so much at once. By the time dinner rolls around, your muscles have been in a breakdown state for 18 hours.
That's a terrifying thought. Our bodies are literally eating themselves because we didn't give them enough protein at 8 a.m.
Exactly. We see this all the time. People think they are being healthy by avoiding meat or eggs because they worry about cholesterol or kidney health, which, by the way, are largely outdated fears for most healthy seniors. In reality, they are choosing bone-deep weakness over a slightly higher protein intake. Without enough leucine, an essential amino acid found in high-quality protein, the on switch for muscle synthesis never gets flipped.
So what does a muscle-saving diet look like? Are we talking about protein shakes and bodybuilding supplements?
It can be simpler than that. It's about 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein at every meal. Eggs, Greek yogurt, whey protein, lean meats, or even soy for the plant-based listeners. But you have to be intentional. You can't just accidentally get enough protein as you age. If you aren't counting it, you aren't getting it.
And I imagine this becomes a vicious cycle. You don't have enough muscle, so you feel tired. Because you feel tired, you move less. Because you move less, you lose more muscle.
It's the sarcopenia spiral. And once you're in it, it's very hard to climb out using diet alone. You have to combine that protein with the one thing most people over 60 are terrified of: resistance.
Resistance. You mean lifting weights. I can hear the listeners now saying, "Doctor, my joints can't handle that," or "I don't want to look like a bodybuilder." How do we fix the rot without hurting ourselves?
That is the million-dollar question, and the answer involves something called myopines, the secret chemical fountain of youth that your muscles produce only under stress. Stay tuned because we're about to explain how to get these chemicals into your bloodstream with just 15 minutes a day.
We are talking about the sitting death and how to stop the silent rotting of our muscles. Dr. Jillian, you mentioned myokines. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie. What are they and why do they matter for someone in their 60s or 70s?
Myokines are often called hope molecules. They are small signaling proteins produced and released by muscle fibers when they contract under tension. When you lift something heavy or push against resistance, your muscles act like a pump, flooding your system with these myokines. They travel to the brain and act like a natural antidepressant. They travel to the heart and strengthen the cardiac walls. They even travel to fat cells and tell them to burn off.
So my muscles are actually a chemical factory for my health.
Precisely. But here's the catch. They only produce myokines when they are being challenged. Walking on a flat surface doesn't do it. Standing doesn't do it. You have to push.
This is where people get nervous. The idea of going to a gym with heavy iron plates and young people in spandex is intimidating. Does it have to be that extreme?
Not at all. Resistance training just means giving your muscles a reason to adapt. You can do this in your living room. Instead of just sitting in that chair, do air squats. Stand up and sit down repeatedly until your legs feel a slight burn. Use the wall for wall push-ups. Use a heavy grocery bag for bicep curls. The goal isn't to win a weightlifting competition. The goal is to create enough tension that your body says, "Oh, we need to keep this muscle. Let's release some myokines and rebuild."
I love that. Hope molecules. It makes the effort feel worth it. But what about the people who say, "I'm 80 years old, it's too late for me"? Is there a point where the rot is permanent?
Never. That is the beauty of human biology. Studies have shown that even 90-year-olds in nursing homes can double their leg strength in just 8 weeks of resistance training. Their bodies still know how to respond to the signal of heavy. It is never, ever too late to reclaim your strength. But you have to start before the next fall, not after.
That's incredibly empowering. It means we aren't just victims of time. We have the remote control for our own aging process.
We do, but we have to be willing to be a little uncomfortable. In our modern world, we've confused comfort with safety. Sitting in that chair feels safe, but it's actually the most dangerous thing you can do for your longevity.
So we've covered the sitting death, the protein paradox, and the hope molecules. But how do we put this all together into a daily routine that actually works?
It's simpler than you think. It's a 3-step protocol that takes less time than watching the evening news. And I'm going to break it down for you in our final segment.
Don't go anywhere. The longevity protocol is coming up next. The exact steps to ensure you never become a prisoner of your own body. We've reached the final part of our journey today. We've learned that our chairs are traps, our morning toast might be failing us, and our muscles are factories for hope molecules. Dr. Julian, let's give our listeners the anti-sitting death protocol. How do they start today?
Step 1 is the protein anchor. From tomorrow morning, I want you to aim for 30 grams of protein in your first meal of the day. Stop the tea and toast cycle. If you aren't hungry for a big meal, have a high-quality whey protein shake or some Greek yogurt with nuts. Anchor your day in protein to stop the muscle breakdown that happened while you slept.
Step 1, protein anchor. Got it. What's step 2?
Step 2 is micro-loading. You don't need an hour at the gym. I want you to commit to 15 minutes of resistance 3 times a week. Focus on your legs. Your legs are your foundation. Squats against the wall, lunges holding a chair for balance, or even just calf raises while you're brushing your teeth. If it doesn't feel a little bit hard, it isn't working. You need that slight burn. That's the sound of the myokinins being released.
And step 3?
Step 3 is the 30-minute rule. For every 30 minutes you spend sitting, you must stand up and move for 2 minutes. Not an hour, 30 minutes. Set a timer on your phone or your watch. When it goes off, stand up, stretch, do 5 squats, and then you can sit back down. This breaks the sedentary signal and keeps your insulin sensitivity high throughout the day.
It sounds so manageable when you break it down like that. It's not about becoming an athlete, it's about being an active human being.
Exactly, Emma. We're fighting a war against gravity and time, but gravity only wins if you stay down. Every time you stand up, every time you choose the stairs, every time you add a bit of protein to your plate, you are winning a battle for your future self. You are choosing to be the person who can play with their grandkids on the floor and actually get back up. You are choosing to be the person who travels, who walks the streets of Europe, who stays independent until the very end.
Dr. Julian, this has been an eye-opener. I think I'm going to go do some squats right now.
I'll join you, Emma. Remember, your chair is for resting after a life well lived, not for waiting for the end.
That's a perfect place to wrap up. Thank you for listening to Longevity Labs. If you found this episode helpful or scary enough to get you moving, please share it with a friend who might be spending a little too much time in their favorite chair. Subscribe for more science-backed secrets to a long, powerful life.
Stay strong, everyone.
We'll see you in the next episode. Stand up, move your body, and take back your strength. Goodbye.
Are you sitting down right now? Perhaps in your favorite recliner? Or maybe on the sofa catching up on your shows? If you are, I want you to listen very carefully to the sound of my voice. That chair, that comfortable, cushioned piece of furniture, it might be the most dangerous object in your home. Welcome to Longevity Labs. I'm your host, Emma, and today we are uncovering a horror story that is happening inside your body at this very moment. We call it the sitting death.
It sounds dramatic, Emma, but the medical reality is even more sobering. We're talking about sarcopenia. It's a term most people over 60 have never heard, yet it's the primary reason why so many elderly people lose their independence and end up in assisted living. It's not just getting old, it's the active, silent rotting of your muscle fibers.
Rotting is a strong word, doctor. Is that literally what's happening?
In a sense, yes. Think of your muscles like a high-performance engine. After age 50, if you aren't actively maintaining that engine, your body starts to scavenge it for parts. It breaks down the muscle protein and replaces it with something far less useful, marbled fat. It's like a prime steak turning into a cheap, fatty cut of meat. This doesn't just make you weaker, it changes your entire metabolic identity.
This is the part that terrifies me. We've been told our whole lives to take it easy as we get older. We're told that retirement is for resting. But you're saying that this rest is actually an invitation for our bodies to decay?
Exactly. In the US and across Europe, we have built a culture around comfort. We've optimized our lives to move as little as possible. We have remote controls, grocery delivery, and cars for a 5-minute walk. But your biology doesn't care about your comfort. Your biology follows a very strict rule: use it or lose it. When you sit for 6, 7, or 8 hours a day, you are sending a chemical signal to your brain that says, we no longer need these leg muscles, we no longer need this core strength, and the body, being efficient, begins to dismantle them.
And it's not just about not being able to lift heavy boxes, right? It goes much deeper into how our organs function.
Far deeper. Muscle is the largest endocrine organ in your body. It regulates your blood sugar, it talks to your heart, and it even sends signals to your brain to stay sharp. When you lose muscle, you don't just lose strength, you lose your internal pharmacy. You become a sitting duck for type 2 diabetes, systemic inflammation, and even cognitive decline.
So the chair is effectively a slow-motion trap. But here is the big question. How do you know if this is happening to you right now? Is there a way to see the rot before it's too late?
There is, and it's a test you can do in exactly 10 seconds without leaving your house. But before I tell you what that test is, we need to understand why most people, even those who think they are active, are still falling into the sarcopenia trap.
That is a chilling thought. Coming up next, Dr. Julian reveals the 10-second home test and why your daily walk might be giving you a false sense of security. Are you ready to find out if your muscles are failing you?